We're glad everybody's here. Take a deep breath in, welcome one another, to welcome yourself to the circle, to welcome this day, to welcome the presence of the sacred and the holy among us and within us. Deep breaths in and out. Morning has broken like the new dawn. And no matter how challenging our lives are, it is good to be. It is good to be. Welcome, everybody. Any questions about our format, about our structure, about any questions you have before I turn it over to Betty? You might want to mute during Betty's presentation and then unmute yourself when you want to speak afterwards if you have a question or comment or response. So Betty Carboll, thank you for being our presenter today. Over to you.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here, and it's glad to see all these nice people that I already know. When I talked about the word creativity, I thought about it for a while, and it seemed to me that it fit into like 3 separate groups. The first is a group that appreciates the creativity of others, but does not find themselves in the doing. This includes going to musical performances, art museums, reading written works of poetry, books from the library, or attending a play or dance performance created by someone else and appreciated by you. The second group is adaptation of the original creator's work, always giving credit to the original composer or visual artist, or putting writer's words in quotation marks. The third group is you, creating original work from a passion which drives you in a certain direction. That direction could be creating visual arts, composing original music, writing a drama, a poem, or a book. As a child, I always had a desire to create. I would be drawing as my father would read to me at bedtime. The drawing often had to do with the story he was reading. I was fortunate to attend Crow Island School as a child because we had an art teacher, an art room, a wood shop, and a shop teacher. When I was in 3rd grade, I made a pioneer kitchen at home inside a small matchbox. I had a lady in a long dress with a butter churn, a wood stove, and a wood box filled with logs made out of tiny cut-up toothpicks. The small box would slide open to reveal the scene. Excuse me. I took it to school to show my teacher, and she upset me by asking who would help me make it. I told her my father by using the matches so I could have the empty box. We were taught how to use the materials, but not what to make. In the wood shop, we learned how to use regular woodworking tools and what each tool was used for. Also in 3rd grade, we made corner shelves for whatnots after reading how Pa made one for Ma in The Little House on the Prairie books by Laura Ingalls Wilder. Pa had carved his, and so I didn't want mine plain. My teacher showed me how to use a hand jigsaw to scallop the edges. So on I went, taking art classes at the Skokie School, New Trier High School, and the School of the Art Institute of Chicago. After graduating with both degrees in art education, I taught elementary art in the Lake Forest schools for 11 years, and then came back to my dear Crow Island to teach art for 21 years before my retirement. I also love music and writing. So at one point, I wrote a piece that described an artist. When I use the word artist, please know that it covered all the arts: music, writing, dance, drama, etc. Basically, the places where passion resides and blossoms. The artist, an organizer of materials and ideas, an inventor of new processes and techniques, a creator with an innate need to express, often a sensitive person seeking to have their work accepted by a critical society. Artists can be a product of the things they have experienced. They may be a keen observer that reacts to their surroundings and then makes their world a part of the objects they create. They need to react in a creative way, and the urge can be very, very strong. It is not enough for the artist to be an observer. They must involve themselves and produce as a result of the reaction within them. The artist shows their feelings and emotions in their work through the choice of subject matter, sometimes through color or texture or motion or shape. They may choose notes of music, words, or movement. Sometimes artists will go to their faith for inspiration and illustrate a Bible verse or feelings that they share with their God. I'm so glad my passion for the arts was joined by my passion for teaching art to young children. If they made a mistake, I asked them not to erase it, but put it away so they could go back to it another day and learn from their mistake. In my 36, excuse me, 36 years of teaching art to children, each day was exciting because there were new ideas belonging to them, bouncing off the walls, and I loved it. I believe a child is a unit of potential to be guided into situations demanding creative and original response. A child can be helped to see and be aware of their surrounding world. Their reactions will be individual. They may create by painting or writing or speaking or composing music. But let us help them to find their way unafraid to creatively respond to their own feelings and ideas in a constructive way. My own artwork has developed over the years as I always wanted to try new combinations of materials and ideas. I felt freedom to try ideas that might pop into my head in my sleep or be a reaction to my love of nature. I guess I tried many media, partly because I was introduced to many possible means of expressing myself when at the Art Institute. I have done watercolors using rubber cement on the surface first so that it could be rubbed off the finished piece to show white of the background. I loved doing silk screen prints until baby David came along, and he always seemed to wake up long enough for my screens to clog. I turned to pen and ink then so that I could put my unfinished piece on the top of the refrigerator, and it was safe until I could continue. I was not good at the potter's wheel. My bottoms were too thick. I enjoy flat pattern and lean more towards creative design than completely realistic. I enjoy having the power to change designs to more imaginative art. I got into my images of the heart jewelry in boxes when my husband had the first heart transplant at Evanston Hospital in 1986. We became very active in donor awareness programs, and I could give a portion of my sales to the American Heart Association's educational programs. My latest combination endeavor has been taking a piece of illustration board, cutting a negative shape out of it, doing a piece of needlepoint to glue behind the hole, and then using the watercolors on the surrounding areas and adding a black ink drawing on top of the watercolor. I need to do more of this, but have been sidestepped with galleries and art exhibits needing more jewelry. My joy was that I married a man who was also an artist and an art teacher at the high school level. We loved our jobs and we loved being at home. Couldn't ask for more than that. When our son David grew up, he became an architect and married an architect. They are both good problem solvers and very creative. When they became parents to Benjamin Thomas, I acquired another passion. I've been writing him letters since before he was born. He is now 12 and I'm close to 100 letters. There, he has learned about the past, my observations of the world, things I want him to know and ponder, and my faith history. I started at the church here in kindergarten at age 5 and joined the church with my 8th grade class. This will be my 70th year as a member of WCC, and I'm so blessed with the guidance, friends, and music opportunities I have received over the years. Would you please join me in prayer? Let us pray. Almighty God, the great creator of all the wonders we are surrounded by, give us a passion for the life you have given us. Give us eyes to see our surrounding beauty, ears to hear the music that touches our hearts, and the written word that inspires and comforts us. In these difficult times when sometimes we feel overwhelmed, we know we can turn to you to give us strength, hope, and a passion to stand up for what is right. We thank you for the artists in our lives who, through their dedication, give us hope and joy. In your name we pray. Amen.
Well, thank you, Betty. That was a very inspiring presentation.
Thank you.
Lovely, lovely, lovely. Before we open for responses and comments and so on, I want to say hello to Mel. Mel was not on audio before. He's joining us from Evanston Hospital. We can see you, Mel. Welcome. Yeah, glad you're here. Okay, do unmute yourself when you would like to offer a response to Betty's presentation. Go right ahead.
I would like to say thank you, Betty, for your beautifully heartfelt, well thought out story of your creativity. I liked the way that you categorized the three types of creators, the appreciators and the ones who actually create. But I also wanted to say that over the years at Winnetka Congregational, I have appreciated your creative talents in so many ways. You didn't mention that you were the soprano soloist at our church for 50 years. And I can remember hearing your lovely solos or even your pointed voice in the choir with its clear bell-like quality and the feeling you put into your renditions. It was absolutely marvelous. And besides that, I also loved the many sets of hangings that you did for our sanctuary, especially for Advent. And I would dearly love to see them again. But over the years, Betty, through your art and your creativity, and also every time I see you, Betty, those clear blue sparkling eyes and your smile, you give me great joy when I just see you in church and say hello to you, and you lift my spirits and, you know, make me sail along in life. So I want to thank you for all these many gifts that you have given to us.
Thank you. I always tease people and say that I sang my way to Medicare, because when you're teaching, you don't get your 40 quarters. And so the church paid into Social Security when I was the soloist. And then I worked at Kresge Dime Store when I was in college. But anyway, I got my 40 quarters, and now I'm very glad I have Medicare.
Glad we could help you out, Betty. Junia had a response.
Well, yeah, that was wonderful, and you brought me to tears. And you were a teacher, at least of one of my children, and I have a number of things that were made in your class still with me, and I enjoy them every single day. And I thank you for many, many things. I thank you also for saying that many people can be creative or artistic even if they don't feel creative, that they can appreciate and enjoy.
Sure.
Because I feel like I'm one of those people, and it was nice to be included, Betty. You're wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm echoing what Eleanor has said in particular. I'm only got 50 years of WCC membership, and some of my first memories were of you in the choir and singing at the Christmas pageant. And one year when I was 7, I think, I was a cherub praying along beside the cradle, the manger where Jesus was laid. And I remember your voice, and it just echoes in my mind that it's sort of the epitome of there was always Betty Carble. And it brought great comfort to me. And I love what you say about how your creativity has evolved, how your expression of creativity has evolved over time. Because I truly believe we are all born in God's image, And since God created the heaven and the earth, we are by definition creators. What it is we are drawn to create is part of our grand individual design that connects us all. So it was wonderful to be reminded of that this morning. Thank you.
I wanted to share some of Betty's other artwork that she didn't mention. She drew this, I don't know if you can see this drawing or not. You see
Oh dear.
from our book. So Betty did not mention her job as a scientific artist.
He said he wanted it to demonstrate something blowing up, and I'm thinking, I don't know what I'm doing.
The publisher unfortunately didn't put the birds in. You have birds on the sitting on the telephone wires, as I recall.
Oh,
Betty, I too would like to thank you. Oh Holy Night will never be sung or played without my thinking of you. And also, our girls were the lucky recipients of you as an art teacher. And not only our girls, but I've watched other friends of theirs who've gone on to art careers because of you. So, Anna Roberts, thinking specifically to Kate's classmates, Anna Roberts and Rachel Perrine.
still hear from both of them.
Yeah.
Oh, how wonderful.
Rachel took a train out from the city and brought with her all her art from Crow Island on a Sunday afternoon, which was wonderful. And Anna, when she started teaching art, would send me the project, and then I was supposed to do it and send it back to her, and she would share it with her kids.
Fabulous.
I have seen Marcy's hand and Jan's hand. Marcy and then Jan.
Betty, talk to us a bit about the creativity of your singing, because I miss your voice so much in the choir. Why did you focus on art but not your singing?
When I was teaching art at the Art Institute on Saturday mornings, I used to take a voice lesson at the American Conservatory beforehand across the street. So they always kind of meshed, I guess. But I've been singing in the choir all this last year, only missed one Sunday, but I'm sitting down. So it's, I could wave to you, I suppose.
Okay. I'll wave back.
Okay, sounds good.
Betty, I love the fact that so much of your art I see being worn around the village and through the church. Of course, I have, as many other people have, a number of your heart pins in memory of your husband and his surgery. But I'm curious about the beads. Tell us about the large beads that I think maybe it was always made for Mother's Day. And I was always been curious about how they were made and what grade children did them in.
That was one of the things that I didn't miss when I retired, because they were kindergarten beads. They rolled the clay. They took a stick and put it through the center for the hole, and then it dried. Then I had to put them in the kiln to fire them, and then they came back and they were given back to the children. I always wanted the ones they had done, but that wasn't possible because by that time there were hundreds. And so then they would put a pencil into the hole so they could hold it, and they would put glaze on it, and then they'd go back in the kiln again. And at that point they couldn't roll because they would latch onto the one next to them and I wouldn't be able to get them apart when they were finished. And so I would just hold my breath while I put them down there and hope they wouldn't start to move around. And then when we got those back, then I put them back on the tables and they chose the ones they wanted to use and they strung them with beads. And it was fine until you had 5 kids, and then you were expected to wear them on Mother's Day and you couldn't stand up. But I used to see them in church on Sunday morning. It was fun. One mother got smart and she made one into a bracelet.
Okay.
But That was one reason for not having a lot of kids.
Betty, I only served for 14 months at WCC when I was here the first time, and yet you were very faithful in sending your annual wonderful, the most delightful Christmas cards ever to Vince and me. And it was always about hedgehogs and grandson. And it was always more than one piece of paper, and all original and all heartfelt. And it kept me in touch with WCC for one thing.
Oh, that's nice.
Those 18 years. But it also said it to me about how faithful you are in keeping up with people. That's a remarkable record. 18 years of Christmas cards from you. Thank you.
I told one of the pastors when he was going to leave, I don't think it was you, that we collected pastors and they would never get away.
That's
I'm not calculating.
Betty?
Welcome, Kirsten Darton is with us. Hi, Kirsten.
That's me.
Hi.
I'm sorry, I just got up. I haven't even brushed my hair.
Anyone else have a response, a question for Betty?
Yeah, Betty, this is Elaine Harrison. Hi.
Hi.
Good morning. What a lovely way to start the day. Thank you so much. Jeffrey reminded me when he was speaking about Christmas cards, I don't know how many of you know it, but two of Betty's wonderful artistic Christmas cards were included in the most outstanding homemade holiday cards of the 20th century by the Smithsonian Institute. You want to tell us a little bit? You want to tell us a little bit about that? I mean, she's in great company. Alexander Calder was also included in that collection.
I love it.
Oh,
So
it was funny. I came home one night and there was a message on the answering machine and she said she was the archivist for the Smithsonian. And I'm thinking, why would she call me other than I work with the archives at Skokie School? This is not a big deal. And of course, they were closed already out in Washington. And so I had to wait till the next day. And she said that one of the teachers that I had had at the Art Institute, who had written a lot of our books on art history and different things, and we had gotten to be friends, and she and her roommate, I would send them a Christmas card at Christmas time and they would send me one. And evidently when they died, they gave their letters to the Smithsonian. And two of my Christmas cards were in there. And then she was calling to say they were going to do this book called 150 handmade holiday cards by American artists or something. And she said, but we would need your permission to use it in the book. And I said, well, who else is in the book? And she said, well, Alexander Calder and John Lennon. I thought, well, I guess that's okay. So it came out. They only used one because the one was very long and it was a very square book, but they did use one. It was a silkscreen print that I did when I was in college. I mean, I felt like saying, well, maybe I do things better now, but you know, that was the one she had. So anyway, it was fun.
That's a great story.
Anybody else? We still have 8 minutes or so.
Betty, you know, is that book available in the library?
I don't know, but I have several copies.
Andy, could you show us your page?
Oh, I don't have it here. And I don't remember what page
Maybe
it was
next
on.
Sunday.
I'll give one to Jeffrey. He can share it sometime when you're, well, no, you don't really get together and forget that.
This is the only way right now.
Right.
Then you can share it with us next week. Hold it up to the camera like I did with your drawing.
I don't know if that would work or not, would it?
Sure.
Yeah.
Can you hold things up? I don't know.
You just have to hold them close to where your little dot eye with the camera is.
Oh, there it is. I wasn't sure where it was. Now I know.
You all continue talking. I'm going to find a hymn called About Creativity and the Divine.
Oh,
We can close with that. Nancy, you had your hand up.
I was just going to say two things. One, another way that Betty has served our church is she has been a mentor for many children, including both of Harry's and my children. And she provided not only spiritual guidance, but great comfort for each of my children. And I'd like to thank you for that.
Mhm.
And also, we have permanently exhibited in our church in the low tower room just outside the pastor's offices, some liturgical cloths that Betty designed. That don't make the transition to when the sanctuary was redone, and so they're now hanging in the lower tower room. That's it.
Betty, I'd like to tell a story on Betty,
Oh,
but I want to make sure it's true, because it's, at least if it isn't true, it's good mythology in the choir.
okay.
And it's been great. I've sung in the choir for, I don't know, a long time, and Betty is always there, always. Betty, is it true that there was a time when money was really tight, there was only one soloist per part, that you gave up being a paid soloist so that we could have another singer?
Not really, no. I left because teaching full-time was really a big job, and I felt that I needed to be prepared for solos on Sunday. And but I did get to sing with, way back when we had the Vesper Quartet, and it was a man's quartet that sang with us. And two of them and myself and our contralto soloist used to sing as a quartet sometimes. And I just thought we had the greatest name. My last name then was Williams, but it was Snodgrass, Scheibe, Dunkelberger, and Williams. And I thought it was a good combination of names. But yeah, for a long time we had a men's Vesper Quartet. That was, I mean, I was little then, hardly born.
Anybody else?
It's just nice to see everybody.
Indeed.
Good to see
I've
Glad
been
you
gone a
could
long time.
Where are you?
I'm back home. I'm back in Winnetka.
Well,
I'm back home. And I see Junia looks like she's out in California.
that's fake.
Oh, is that fake? That's pretty impressive.
It's my dream, but I'm right in my office right now.
Is that in Monterey?
Well, just south of Monterey, yes.
Okay.
Point Lobos. Mm-hmm.
I just wanted to say, Betty, I'm looking, I'm just so appreciative of all you've given to the church in so many aspects over a very long time, more than half a century. And I always look forward to seeing you because your smile and your conversation always give me joy and give wings to my feet. So keep on doing what you're doing because it's so beneficial to all of us.
Thank you.
If no one has any other offerings in response to Betty, does I hear somebody?
Madge,
Yes, Madge, please.
I just wanted to say that it's such a wonderful way to start a very quiet, hot day, to listen to these words, to her ideas about creativity and how the different ways of looking at it. I, like Junia, am more of an observer, not a doer. My mother painted, 2 of my children can, but I watch, I look, and it's just wonderful to hear her words.
We need people who are appreciative.
Thank you, Madge. Nice to hear from you. I'd like to close then with the words of a hymn. I could sing it, but it's you don't want to do that. You want to hear that. The hymn is by Ruth Duck, and some of you know Ruth Duck. She's a North Shore pastor and a teacher of worship skills and music and so on. And does Ruth Duck have a connection with, oh, I'm thinking of Natalie Sleeth. This is Ruth Duck's hymn about creativity and the divine. And it's number 30 in the New Century Hymnal. And I've put that in the chat for anybody who wants to follow up. I'm going to do 3 verses. It's also in the form of a prayer, so let this be our closing today. Colorful Creator, God of mystery, thank you for the artist teaching us to see glimpses of the meaning of the commonplace, visions of the holy in each human face, harmony of ages, God of listening ear. Thank you for composers tuning us to hear echoes of the gospel in the songs we sing, sounds of love and longing from the deepest spring. God of truth and beauty, poet of the word, may we be creators of the spirit stirred, open to your presence in our joy and strife, vessels of the holy coursing through our life. I wish you all a blessed day and week. Thank you again, Betty, for leading us today.